I'm like a customary chief, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So like, I live in all these places, like with all the families down. Like this is all relatives.
Okay.
So it's just like the old village, and it's still like, for us, we still live that way. Yeah, like we gather certain things, and each certain families do certain things, and certain families grow certain things or practice certain things, and we all kind of gather still at this spot right here. Like it's just like sometimes people think it's a place where people dump stuff, and but this is actually where the meeting spot used to be. So this corner right here. Yeah.
And there's burial sites you were saying all around here.
Yeah, the burial sites. So one of my favorite burial sites. See all this is part of the navigational system also too. Yeah, like how the stars rise and set, and this is where in the ancient days we used to study like the navigation, the celestial navigation of the stars and everything. So that point up there, Kamanu, that's where I found the skeleton on the top of the mountain. And then we had to go with the police and everything and see how old, and Mr. Robinson, yeah, and the scientist. And then I found this skull, and it was a lady. She lived up to 80 years old, and she had a big puka temple, in her temple, a big hole in her temple, and she had all her teeth. They said it was about 500 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the hole, would that have been a certain way?
A certain war, yeah.
Oh, it would have been from a war?
Yeah, and I guess it was one of our relatives that we looked back, and there was some invading like tribes that came here, and then I guess she was the leader, of the tribe. And then anyways, like was a special spot that they had a ceremony and buried her on top of that point.
And was there other burials up there?
Yeah, there's
as
pretty
well?
much like we're in a triangle, so from that point, like all the way down here it goes all the way down to Dumahai, yeah, and then there's these rocks.
Yeah.
And I can share with the Hawaiian names also, like the other name, that place is called Makamaka'i, which is after a shark, and there's a guardian over there called Kanakai Ko'o. It's a huge tiger shark, and they're still there today. Like our families all have all those information. Like part of our genealogy and everything. And then the square goes inside here, and then there's a lot of burials around this whole rim, yeah. And this lower part of Wai'iha, they call that La'au. So that's where like the people would go and congregate and then go back to their tribes. Other things. We're gonna go in here.
Okay. Do you know what the population was in life?
They said it was close to 1 million just in Wai'iha at one point.
1 million in Wai'iha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because of the agriculture system. This is like kind of where we have our canoes. We're kind of working this area. This is a property that we're in mitigation with the Section 106, and we're trying to put a stop on it to have it not being developed, because this is the last property. That's Bobby Allen's house is right over here, right over here, and then there's an old ditch right here. The state and the state, they use the structure or the foundation of the Carroll Field system, and so that's how they build all the roads. And when they did that, they stopped the water from coming in here. But then when it floods, all the water comes and returns here. There's a big ditch here, ancient ditch. So that's part of the ditch systems where that's protected nationally, the National Revenue Service. And then right on top here is like there's a lot of family burials here also up this hill. And see that there's a trail that connects this. So the trail starts there's a trail that goes around the rim, and like we're right next to the trail of the burials. With that pathway.
So that would have been a pathway that would have gone past many burial sites.
Yeah, it's just like a common pathway, but it goes, like through the ancestors, and that's where everybody acknowledges and makes offering and remembers their focus,
right.
And their spiritual guidance, kind of in our like customs. So pretty much comes like down from Bobby's house and goes up there all the way to the Red Dirt Hill, and comes along this ditch. And all behind here, there's like in that house trees right there. There's burials all in there. So,
wow.
And then when they moved this house, and when they made these houses, all these houses, they damaged all the stonework. And not only the stonework, but there's a lot of stuff that was stored in the stones and burials and manifestations. And this just like the last of us trying to preserve our way of sustainability that sustain the millions of people. And like just trying to like hello, it's have an example for the world and to see, and physically can be active and partake in it and share. So because before we used to export all the food for free throughout the world, with the canoes and everything like that. So this was an area that's was very sacred for those things, because everything was around it. Not only the resources, but the families and the people and the sites where they were trained at. And this is where they hide a lot of the royalties, like from around the world. Not only from Hawaii, but during the ancient time, they had chiefs that they housed here and fed and revived them after war and and after going through dramatic emotional changes, whatever they're going through. But this is a place of healing, so this is where they would hide a lot of the royalties. Like our families, had to hide. Some of our families who were destined to be leaders, after the overthrow and everything, and they hid them here from the government so they wouldn't get killed and stuff like that in our bloodline. And so these areas, like even though it's like a modern setting, everything, and there's still like the ancient like custom still moving through here, and you have those special people with gifts, like in their skills of sustainability, and everyone's magical, everyone has a place, where they fit in the kingdom and in our system. So actually, like like these areas right here, like because I grew up on this road my whole life, and our farm was in Hanalei and other places, and that's how we got to know the whole island, because we would go out and gather all these things, that are certain places that we needed to survive. So this is like a base, like for a lot of the elites or the chiefs and stuff, because this is where they had the balance,